And welcome into the Fan Morning Show pre-show for draft day. As this microphone is jacked up again, Pony. Colin Dunlap alongside Chris Mack, producer Matt. He is in his spot. Jim Colony, he'll be around in just a little while. Good morning to you, Chris. How is everything?
It's good. We finally made it to Christmas morning.
Yes. You're right. Oh, I'm afraid this thing is going to fall. This microphone, I hope, will be good. I know you can. Oh, my gosh. It's as loose as it's ever been. I don't know why, Pony. Wait. You're hearing that loud squeaking. I'm tightening it. Why does he do this? All right, a couple stories on the docket. I want to get to a big story here in a moment. But I got intel yesterday that to go along, add to our list, Blount, Demolian. I got intel yesterday that instead of Sam Darnold, it is Darno. Sam Darno is what he says. I wish we could find it. Yes, it's Sam Darno.
You know what I'm rooting for really hard?
It rated about a couple minutes before 3 p.m. I guess the guys were talking about it a little bit. Sam Darno. Anyway, what are you rooting for?
I'm rooting for, everybody knows because we've talked about the draft so much that I'd like to see them take a running back. But either way, whether it's Najee Harris or Travis Etienne, I'm really rooting for either one of those just because Ron will have a hell of a time with either one of those. He'll turn it into Najee, which it's not, and Najee Harris has been like vociferous about that. It's just the way it's spelled. He said it's Najee. It's not Najee. So I'm really rooting for that, and I think ATN could really throw him for a loop as well. So I'm really rooting for the best name in the first round.
I'm actually rooting for the defensive end from Michigan. What's his name? Quiddy Pay or whatever.
Quiddy Pay.
Yeah, isn't that the guy's name? Something like that?
Yes.
Kwity, something like that. Quiddy Pay.
Yep. Quiddy Pay.
That is who I want the Steelers to take in the later rounds. Because that would be spectacular. But yeah, I hear it's Darno, I've been told, and not Darn. It clearly has an N. And it's
Sam Darnold is French now,
right?
Apparently.
Yes. What name did you hear, producer Matt? That you come on, let's hear it.
I heard that I forget what the version he used, but he tried to say Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, here we go.
I'm pretty sure he said Shohei Ohtana.
Oh,
it was like, or I don't even remember how he screwed it up.
Shohei
Ohtana.
International incident.
Shohei Ohtana.
Yeah, speaking of that, this is funny. This is kind of falls in those lines. You remember when they used to play, when basketball teams, college basketball teams early in the season, they don't really do this anymore. They would play like Athletes in Action or this group of they would get together like even Pitt or Duquesne or Robert Morris or somebody. They would play like a team called like Athletes in Action. It would be like made up and comprised of old college basketball players that would loosely put together a team, Division I basketball players. These guys would be like 25, 30 years old sometimes, and they'd be able to play them in exhibition games, okay? This would happen way back in like the 90s. And then every once in a while, there'd be these international teams. So they'd come over here. It would be like a team of professionals from like wherever, or kind of like the national team of like Bahrain or whatever would come over, okay? And they would play early. I'm talking like, what would it be? October, November, right after Midnight Madness. They'd play like a couple games and get ready. And one would be like Athletes in Action. One would be like one of like, basketball club, Cheska Moscow or whatever. And they'd play like their B team just get warmed up. Well, one time, one of my buddies was working in a sports information department. I will not tell you the university. It was not in Pennsylvania. And they were playing, I want to say, it was like a Middle Eastern countries, like this team was traveling around the United States. And so they said they put behind their bench their flag, okay? So they gave him their flag, and they said, if you could just hang this up, there's our bench. And well, I guess he hung it up upside down. And they came out in the layup line, and it was like the ultimate, and I'm thinking about Ron Cook mispronouncing names. It serves in their country as, and it was like, not Bahrain, but somebody, as like the ultimate insult. The guys all took like 5 steps out of the locker room and were like giving it the move where guys do the under the chin, like throwing their fist at you under their chin move. They just stopped and were giving it that towards the scorer's table and pointing at the flag. and their manager guy, their handler, was like yelling in this language nobody could understand in this Division I gym, and they're pointing at the flag, and they're like, "What are you talking about? You told us to hang the flag," and they're giving it the symbol of like you hung it upside down. This is like worse than insulting someone's mother. And it caused this big international incident. So I'm thinking about Ron. Hey, Ron, hang this flag. Okay. And it'd be like the American flag. I hung it up. He hung it up backwards, and you're in this outpost in the middle of nowhere. And it was like before the internet was gigantic. You know what I mean? So like you didn't. Yeah. You just kind of did it. All right, I got to get to this story because we have a celebrity infusion into this story. Dateline Sarver, PA, right up right 8. Not too far. Sarver, PA. A family in Sarver, they've put up a reward to recover their missing Clydesdale horse. They believe Jesse, that's the horse here, was stolen off their farm early Monday morning. So late Sunday night, early Monday morning. They are heartbroken over the missing animal. I don't know how you can't be. The Fliesner family, that's her name, Fliesner. They raise beautiful Clydesdales on their farm in Sarver. One of their favorites, Jesse, is missing. They fear it was stolen. Ready? They are. This horse is 2,200 pounds, and it's friendly. It loves apples, and the owner says it can get very attached. I cry every night. I beg on Facebook for the people to return her. If you took her, just bring her back. So they say that they're too upset, the owners are, to go on camera. This horse means so much to their kids. Jesse was last seen on a security camera roaming in the pasture around 1 a.m. on Monday. She went out of the camera's range and was never seen again. The theory, the horse was stolen. It's not a surprise. The horse market is outrageous right now. They're paying phenomenal amounts of money for horses, animals, all of them. You go to a horse auction, you might have one or two horses. These dealers are scrounging. Clydesdales like Jesse can get as much as $10,000. They're like the Budweiser Clydesdales. They're amazing. They're beautiful. Everybody wants one. The family's offering $2,000. To which Paul Martino reported on this story. So I tweeted to Paul, and let me find the tweet. I tweeted to Paul, and I said, maybe I'm naive here, Paul, but how does one go about stealing a horse and doing it undetected? Okay? I mean, is that a logical question for you, Chris? Like,
well, I mean,
I know it's a farm.
You sneak out into the field and slow, but that's a big horse to like. If that horse doesn't want to deal with your nonsense, it's just going to stomp on your head.
Push in as he was finishing with his cigarettes. Scott Blasey of the Clarks, right? He's a big fan of our show and just a great guy. And he really doesn't smoke. I just made that up, but that song, right?
Well, it's a song.
Yes. So Scott Blasey, who is one of the all-time great guys. He is just a super guy. He sends me a message. He says, 3, maybe 4 in the morning, horse trailer. Some horses are in the field at night. Some are in unlocked stables behind unlocked gates in rural communities where there's a degree of trust. Risky but doable. I guess it was done by someone with some familiarity of the situation. To which immediately this guy chimes in, Scott, seems like you know too much about stealing horses. Which, good point. And he says, I live near horse farms and have been around them enough to formulate an opinion. Maybe it's the parent in me that is always assessing situations and thinking about how to make them better, safer, more secure, as in, man, I would never leave that gate unlocked like that. So there we are, Detective Blasey cracking the case. Mm-hmm. It's got to be an inside job. I'm not saying from this family, but someone that once worked there, someone that knew what time, how to go there, what was happening, where the security cameras were.
Or just somebody that lives in the area and knows that they have these Clydesdales and that, like Scott said, you go out into the field late at night, nobody's watching you then. Although, you know what? You brought up the idea of, what were we talking about yesterday? And you brought up the idea of trail cams. Oh, no, it was the other day when we were talking about Sasquatch. So I would be, okay, this is just my thought process. If I were a criminal and I were looking to steal someone's livestock or horses or whatever from their field, I would be worried that there was a trail cam somewhere. And I'm going to get nabbed anyway. I'm still going to get caught because cameras are everywhere.
I'm worried that there's a camera everywhere that I go in my whole life.
Yes, even in the middle of a wide open field, in the middle of nowhere, there is a camera. Cameras are everywhere watching our every move. So I would never trust that I was actually getting away with something in the complete in the complete dark of night, as it were.
Yeah, I'm with you. And another thought crossed my mind. Aren't and shouldn't, or if they're not, shouldn't they be? All these, much like your dog or whatever, and I don't have a dog, but aren't they like microchipped to where not necessarily can track them, but where people would go to sell them? Don't they like rub like a thing across them and find out? Like
if they're found, yeah, or essentially what it boils down to, I think, is if they're found, they can be scanned for their microchip, and they can go, oh, okay, well, this dog belongs to so and so at whatever address.
Sarver,
yeah. So you would think that horses usually get branded, right? Or maybe not branded, but tagged somehow.
Yeah, I feel bad for this family. What if the horse just comes walking back today and was like, I don't know what this big uproar was. I just went for a walk. I was over in Saxonburg. You guys are just raising this big stink. Nobody stole me. I just wanted to jump on it. Just went for you guys sowing some wild oats. Just went for a walk. Went all the way down. I was in Renfrew. I don't know what you're talking about.
Renfrew.
Right. No, I do feel bad. I will say this. If you stole this horse, you're a scumbag. But you do have some gall. Like to pull that off. I don't care how rural it is. You load up a trailer and you go in the dark of the night and you take a horse like that, you got some brass ones, man. Some brass ones.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's a quick turnaround on what – there's a black market for everything, right? We know.
Yes.
So that's a quick turnaround on the stolen livestock black market. Like you nab a Clydesdale and you turn around and sell that thing as quickly as possible to – I don't know, what kind of person is in the market for a stolen Clydesdale.
Darnell.
I'm sure there's somebody. Somebody with the last name Darno.
Demolian, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Blount.
Yes. What if you see Mel Blount and he's riding one of these Clydesdales and you try to put it all together and he's like, no, I just bought one. Actually, that's the craziest thing at our station, that it's Mel Blunt, but LeGarrette Blount. And it's spelled exactly the same. I don't.
Giovanni Gallardo.
That's another all-timer. But the Blount and Blunt, that gets me. It gets me every time.
Yeah, because it should be consistent.
I don't. I still.
Quitty pay. Quitty pay.
Oh man, I really wish that they would have signed one of the Tuiasa Sopos that played in the NFL. I mean, oh, this is where we are. Anyhow, that's that. We're going to have a little fun with the NFL draft to start the show today. And then what about the draft in Pittsburgh? Really fun. A fun little while to get going about the first half hour. So take it or flush it. And then Mitch Keller, what the hell is happening with him? And one name I just keep reading with the NFL draft as it's associated with Pittsburgh. Just one name. There is one name. We all know the big names. That one name just keeps lingering there right on the outside. And I say, could they? Maybe, might. Could they go there? We get into all this, and we got a big list of guests. Jeff Hathorn, 7 o'clock hour. Jason Mackey, 8 o'clock hour. Aditi Kinkabala, she's in Cleveland. She's covering the draft. We love talking to her because she's spectacular. 9 o'clock, we talk to Aditi. Good morning to you. It is the Fan Morning Show.